So what we're going to do for tonight, we're going to go ahead and introduce everybody. We're going to do a quick recap of what happened in episode 11, and we're going to jump into tonight's action. So starting up top, we have...
Hi, that's me. My name's Ellie. I play Anne for you. I'm playing Anne Hawthmore. I am a Changeling Trickster rogue, and I'm ready to get up to shenanigans tonight.
Shenanigans, all right.
Shenanigans.
And below me, waiting for his Chinese food, is...
That's right. I'm Laszlo. My Chinese food is about to knock on the door. I play Lorex, the Dwarven Genie Warlock. Thank you.
And then at the very bottom, we have...
Well, I'm Wes. I'm old, and I'm playing Cordan Acosta, the Circle of Stars Druid, who is a bit odd, but, whatever. He gets around.
And he gets around. Yeah. And fun trivia, me and Wes have been playing D&D together off and on for like 25 years. So, crazy to think how long it's been. All right.
Do the math.
Do the math. I know. All right, so to jump in, before we jump into episode 12, let's first rewind and kind of do a quick recap of what happened in episode 11. Where we picked up last week, the party had just returned from their epic adventure in the Underdark, and they left the Yawning Portal, and they headed back to their home, their stronghold that they're building up outside of Underhill, a small town just outside of Waterdeep. And there they found they've met some friends. They've had some bears show up. They're not bears. They're people. But they're werebears. They met some werebears.
Oh my.
They met some werebears that went on some adventures with them as well. And they've also met the Stormpike clan, the Dwarf. So they're kind of collecting all of these followers and all of these other people who are all kind of coming in and joining the fight against the collective. So the Sovereign, the cult of the Sovereign, as the people in Waterdeep are calling them, but they're not really a cult. They're just collecting
More
together.
Like a club.
This is a club. It's a
We're
club.
not collecting together.
We're not collecting together, right?
That would be like a collective.
That would be like a collective, right?
Yeah, we don't.
So they are banding together to take out this shadowy nemesis of the collective, the mind flayers and intellect devourers that are slowly starting to take over, most of Waterdeep, it seems, or a good chunk of it. So they are, this ragtag team on the outside of town. They started kind of like building their stronghold and their defenses and trying to gather resources and gather allies. And last week we heard the tale of the Wildheart clan that had traveled from Barovia here and had caught up with an old ally of theirs, which was Miles Hawthmore. And from them we met Blaze, Mari, and Thornton. And they were two humans and a lovable little halfling, and they're all werebears. They're all lycans. And they have come here and kind of in refuge. They came here to like try to find a place to live, and found out that they've just kind of walked into this whole other problem that Miles and the rest of you are in. So now they've kind of joined you. So now we have the dwarves, the Stormpike clan. We have the Wildheart clan that's here. And while all of this was happening, and you were kind of meeting down below in the crypt below your stronghold, something happened up top, and there was a lot of voices. We heard horses thundering in, and it was there that we found that a lot of members of the Orders of the Gauntlet were hunting these savage wild beasts that had ravaged a temple, and they had tracked them here, or at least they were investigating this area, and they were basically looking for the Wildheart clan. But they also said that they were looking for the infernal Anne Hagmore, which is a play on Anne's name, Anne Hawthmore, and that she is wanted for murder, as is the rest of them, and they are trying to track this infernal Anne down, and believing that she had something to do with the murder and the ravaging of this Temple of Hell. So now that they've traveled back, and they've had this issue with the Order of the Gauntlet, they had a couple of ways to decide, do we try to use diplomacy? But that didn't happen. Instead, they came out of the crypt guns blazing. We had this huge battle with, much to Anne's displeasure. She did not want to do that. But we had all of this happen. had a huge battle. They fought these Order of the Gauntlet, these paladins, these knights, and the Inquisitor, which was his name was Baylor, this Inquisitor. They battled him, and there were fireballs going off. There was one of the dwarves, Geldar, he died in the conflict, and there was this mass chaos going on, this massive battle. And at the end of the battle, there were these raised voices coming in through the woods, and as they were preparing for more combat, they were wanted for, they were thinking, okay, we've got more people coming, we've got to combat. These Kuatoas came in, these fish people came in.
The mighty Kuatoa.
The mighty Kuatoa. And they came in looking for, where is this Lorex. They were looking for Lorex, sorry. As they came in,
for Laszlo.
As they came in looking for Lorex, they seem to revere this Lorex. They've seen it as some type of god. And they seem to be sent here to find this Lorex, this dwarven genie warlock. And they met them, and they pledged themselves to the service of Lorex. And as they're looking around, they're like, okay, so what do we do with them? And at this point, we're going to pick up this week. We're going to hear the story, or a little bit of the story, of the Kuatoa, these fish people that have arrived. But before we do that, we're going to pick up the battlefield. I've kind of removed all the tokens, but the tent that the dwarves had set up as their tavern is burned. It's just kind of like in cinders from all the fireballs and the wall of fire that was placed by everyone in the previous. So you've got like this grisly battlefield. So the first thing I want to ask the party is, what are we going to do with the bodies? Because we have 7 knights. I got a couple of caster or priest. We've got this inquisitor. So you've got 10 bodies. What do y'all want to do with the bodies?
I have an idea.
Yes.
Bodies are good mulch at some point after they decompose. So I think I'm going to take them to. I'm going to take them into the grove and use mold earth to basically bury them at the bases of all the trees around the area.
Okay. All right. So
then, after a night's sleep and preparing a new spell, I will be taking plant growth to channel into the area to cast over 8 hours to enrich all plants in a half-mile radius and cause them to overgrow.
Oh. How are you? Okay.
I love it.
All right. So the knight, the dwarves, the Stormpikes, the Wildheart clan, everyone kind of comes together to bury the Inquisitor and his knights, and strip them of all their armaments, of course. While it's all, they are wearing different types of half plate and they have great swords and all that, but all of it is. It's all got the symbols of the Order of the Gauntlet. Like, this is official. So the dwarves, Thorbrick, he goes, well, it'd probably best if we smelt that down instead of sell it.
What about the gauntlet itself?
We're looking at the gauntlet that the Inquisitor was using to kind of brand the back of Meldar. You look and it doesn't seem magical in nature. I believe it was some spell or some divine thing he was doing himself.
Thorbrick, these have offended your people. You do with their belongings, as you see.
Well, we'll smelt it all down. But as you search them all, between everyone here, you have about 700 gold in coin, and just various items. We'll say it's 700 gold to put into the group funds. But you do have a ton of half plate and a lot of weapons, and we can smelt that down to make a lot of different things. So right now, the dwarves are going to get working on smelting that down into ingots so we can make something else with it, and for other armaments or just whatever we need. Because, I mean, we are talking about raw metal that we could use for the camp itself. So they're going to start working on that while you dispose of the bodies. I love that idea. I love that.
It's going to take me about 24 hours to work on all that.
It's great.
Right. Dead bodies are spell components. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Okay. So what we're going to do is, so that night, this is what you're doing. The Kuatoa are introduced down to the bottom of the crypt. And fortunately, there is a water feature in the crypt. And if you'll see,
I didn't click.
we have to
Forgot about Miles's wading pool.
Yes, so there is a water feature. So as we go down into the crypt and everyone kind of goes into their areas, there is this pool in the back that had been used centuries or actually thousands of years ago, and this water is still collected. It draws from the ground. The Kuatoa take to it like fish, it will, and they start, they just kind of take over the wading pool. And if you look, they perfectly fit in the pool. So we have the Kuatoa. Their chief, Akil, is there, and he also introduces a few others. There you have, this is Sibgil, and you see this other larger Kuatoa come up, and they call him the Reckoner, and he's got like this large like trident, and he introduces himself. You also have Hilfin, Shocketh, and you also have Gillis Greenfin, and he's kind of introducing all of the different Kuatoa to you, and they all kind of come forward and introduce themselves, and they all swear their allegiance to Lorex, which is very surprising because everyone so far has come to meet Miles and to also meet Ceridwen, but instead these are specifically here for Lorex, which is very interesting. So what is everyone's kind of like reaction to the Kuatoa kind of coming in and just kind of taking their place? Let's start with Anne. Anne, what is your feeling with the fish people?
Anne is not sure what to make of it. She also doesn't know much about Lorex pre-being here, and pre-being in service to her uncle. So she is a little weary, I would think. Like, definitely, like, kind of getting soot to just kind of keep an eye on them. Very curious, is looking forward to having a conversation with Lorex about it later. Where these fish people might have come from.
All right, so while all of this is happening down below, now, Cordan, you're up top with the dwarves getting rid of the bodies. That's kind of what you're doing during all of this.
There's a time limit on this.
Right. So, Akil, the chief of the Kuatoa, says that they actually, in our past, we had issues with the flayers of mind, and when we had issues with them, we met this Merid had come to help us. His name was Barabi. He helped us with these problems, and he ended up leaving us with this idea that there was another that we could serve. We wanted to serve him, but he would not allow it. And with that, he told us of Lorex the Great, Lorex the Mighty, and we decided it was you that we would worship and follow. And we did.
Oh, they were talking to me.
Yes.
I thought they were talking to Cordan. Yes, and it sounds reasonable. Did he say anything else about the other? I know of Barabi. I don't know if you mentioned someone else.
Oh, the flayers of mind. They were the ones that were enslaving us and bringing us. And as he's talking, he's kind of moving his head back and forth. Because you got to think, they have one eye on either side of their head. So he's either looking at you from one side or he's looking at you from the other. So he's constantly kind of moving his head back and forth as he's talking to you.
It's important to keep your head on a swivel. You know, you could be attacked from any side. You know.
And you see they're all doing that.
No,
this is constantly kind of moving back and forth.
Perfectly reasonable. We are organizing an effort against the mind flayers and the intellect devourers that serve them. If you stay here with us, we will. I know this is a little comfortable, but we'll make you more comfortable, and you can help us as we kind of establish a home base for those operations. We trying to rebuild our stronghold, and you can serve as some of our infantrymen, the army. We're training others, but it's nice to have the mighty Kuatoa who are already trained in combat.
When you say the mighty Kuatoa, they all go, "Ah!" And they all kind of like lift up their spears and their shields, and they kind of cheer. And Akil, the chief, he looks over and goes, yes, but how do you know that everyone here is of the right mind?
I see. You have accomplished. You have training in the mighty pun as well. We have methods to root out these mind flayers. So We're not worried about anyone in our encampment as of yet, but outside of the stronghold, that's when you'll need to be wary.
All right. As you're saying,
I would like to take Boo and just walk by these people.
You're not there yet. You're still dealing with.
Get wrecked. You're still burying corpses.
There's a lot of corpses to bury. Hang on.
Never mind. We're good.
So the Gillis Greenfin, one of the smaller ones, he walks up and you see he's got these daggers, and he walks up and goes, Akil, ask about the fish. Ask about the fish. And Akil goes, oh yes, of course. We're all quite hungry. The fish and the food service outside of Waterdeep had gone away. We were hoping you would have some food here.
Do we have some kind of provisions? I don't know what we have yet.
Yeah,
we not established that yet.
You've got fruits and grain and vegetables. But remember, there's still this huge. We haven't even talked about this in a while. There's still a huge food problem,
right?
Because of the invasion of the Fae, or as we've kind of found out later, they're coming from the Shadowfell.
Because of Miles.
Has he stopped that?
Well,
yeah, did he?
It's still going on. It's an ongoing problem.
Right.
And it kind of seems, and kind of remember that Miles seemed to have made a deal with somebody in the Shadowfell that he didn't truly understand, and now that the lid is off of that, it's kind of hard to put the lid back on. And and that seems to be, you've caught a lot of conversations between Miles. Ceridwen is pretty hot about this whole situation, because this seems to be Miles' doing. And one of the things that you notice is Ceridwen seems to be the brains of the operation. It just seems that she seems to understand things a little bit better than Miles.
Miles is our lovable idiot.
But he's your lovable idiot, right?
But he's our powerful, lich,
right?
Lovable idiot. All right, I'll explain to the Kuatoa. We have some fruits and grains, enough for. I know. It's enough for sustenance, but we need to. I will speak with Miles, and we need to. It's one of the first things I want to address is establishing some more supplies so we can all be well fed and eat well. And
you notice that Gillis comes up again and is whispering something to Akil, and Akil goes, Yes. What about those humans that you fell outside? We could eat them if you have no use of them.
Eat humans, huh?
Well, any meat.
Let's see.
Not
well, I've never eaten human myself. I find it a little detestable myself. We'll speak with Cordan, see if he can spare any of the corpses. I hate to say it, but I think he's planning to feed those corpses to the tree.
And they all kind of like this, and you see all their like. And with that, Miles looks over and goes, he looks up and goes, yes, Mari, and the little halfling comes running up, and she goes, yes. Could you go get Cordan for us? I believe we need his help with the Kuatoa. Tell him to stop what he's doing and come here. We need to make a very quick decision before things get out of hand. I don't know how well these are going to act whenever they're hungry. So, and with that, Mari leaves. A little halfling. Mari kind of like runs out really quick. So, Cordan, you're up top. You're burying the bodies pretty quickly and effectively. You've got them lined up, and you're able to kind of churn the earth quickly with mold earth. So you're using your divine magic just to kind of turn the earth over. Little Mari runs up and goes, Hold up, wait. Miles said to stop what you're doing and maybe bring one of these or two of these down with you. I believe our new friends need to feed.
I don't need that. Let's go.
Oh, okay. Well, come on. All right, so with that, you leave. You also notice that the dwarves seem to be putting together some type of funeral pyre for Geldar, their friend that died. Remember, we lost one of the dwarves. One of the Stormpikes fell in battle, and while some of them have been helping you, once they kind of got everything lined up for you, they're starting to put things together to have a funeral of sorts for Geldar. So with that, Cordan, you go down into the crypt, and you can hear a lot of murmuring coming down the corridors as soon as you come down into the crypt itself. And as you walk up, you see that Miles and everyone is here. And you look, and all the Kuotoas are looking around, and they see you coming, and they're like, and you hear him go, "Oh, yeah, yes, he brings the food. He brings the food. He's the butcher. He's the butcher."
Not quite. I haven't made your acquaintance yet. My name is Cordan. I'll learn all of your names eventually, I'm sure. So you're hungry, I'm gathering?
Yes. And one of them was, yes, my name is Sardini. Sardini, yes. You bring food? You bring food.
Sardini, what is the best fish?
Shark. We like shark.
All right. And Cordan's going to reach out and cast Conjure Animals in the pool and summon 8 hammerhead sharks in the pool.
So you summon these sharks. These poor sharks have no idea what they're in for. As soon as they enter the pool, it is an absolute feeding frenzy as all the Kuotoa just start like stabbing and jumping on top of it and chopping up. The pool grows like blood red as all of the sharks are just getting chopped up. And what you witness is one of the most disturbing things you ever see of these 10 Kuotoas just going to town and eating all of these hammerhead sharks. Like, it is grisly. And Lorex, you on the other hand, suddenly see they are quite adept at fighting and hunting and eating, and you start thinking strategically about how we could use this in the future.
I am going to have a conversation with them after they've finished their frenzy. Maybe while they're finishing their meal of, let's not. There are ways to go about this without quite as much savagery down in the kit. Let's keep the violence exterior to this space. We can always catch the sharks and brutalize them up above.
And as you say, like, Akira looks up and he's got like a fin hanging out of his mouth. He shoots up, next time, and he's like just chewing on. I mean, you've also got to think, we don't know how long.
I'll enjoy your meal.
You don't know how long it's been since they've had a hearty meal. So I don't know if this is just typical Kuotoa behavior or they just haven't eaten in a while. But either way,
in any case, nip it in the bud and let them finish their meal, and hopefully we don't deal with this next time.
All right.
Then I'm going to ask: is everyone full now?
Yes, and they're still eating. I mean, there's eight hammerhead sharks and 10 Kuotoa. Those are big fish. I mean, they're still chewing. Like, as you're talking, they're still eating. I don't think there'll be leftovers.
All right. As they're doing this, I'm going to turn around and walk out. But as I walk away, say, "He may be God, but I can make the fish," and then I'll walk out.
And they go, "The little one has a point." It's interesting they call you little because Lorex is smaller than you. Maybe they're talking about like width and all right. So what we're going to do now, we are going to do a time jump of 2 weeks. We're going to have a 2-week downtime period that the party we've kind of been talking about this out of game, what they want to do for 2 weeks. We haven't had a lot of downtime since we started so long ago, and it's time for things to kind of settle down, and it gives you opportunity to do some things that we need to do and also start building up the stronghold. Okay. Now, that being said, over the next 2 weeks, there will be other people coming up here and kind of asking and investigating what happened. If you heard of the Order of the Gauntlet, they last seen they were heading up here. So there's going to be a little bit of you're going to have to kind of cover your tracks in a way. Getting rid of the bodies and the evidence and everything is a big part of that. But you remember they also came up on horses. And you said that you were going to take those horses and kind of gift them to the Amcathras, the stables. Now, Hank Amcathras, who owns the land that y'all are squatting. So we're going to kind of go back up top.
Before we leave that map.
Oh, okay.
I would just couple of questions. We never asked what this and this are, or how do you get to them?
So there are this wall here turns, and so does this one. There's secret passages, and that is where Miles and Ceridwen, those are their quarters.
In the separate quarters?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
They're
Just
liches.
checking.
They're both liches. I don't know what's going on. I don't think they need...
There's a joke to be made there, but I'm not going to make it. So. Okay. We can go back up to the other map. I've got some things that I need to get.
All right. So while this is going on, Vimak, the Goliath that's with you, he has this egg, this massive egg, and he is talking to Miles about it, and he's keeping it. This is the egg up here. He is keeping that in his room, and we found out some things about it, but he is kind of spending a lot of time focusing on taking care of the egg, protecting the egg, learning about the egg. So he's on.
It reacts to his skin too, right? So he's just holding it all the time.
Yeah. So a lot of there's something about the rock and the stone texture of his Goliath hands as he holds it. He can sense that whatever's inside it likes to lay closer to him, like on the egg, like at the bottom of the egg to his hand. So he's been doing a lot of experimentation with the egg itself, but he finds that when he holds it, it seems happier. So there's a lot of times you just see this giant Goliath just carrying this egg around with him, which is kind of funny. So that's kind of what he's doing at this time. So we're going to go back up top, and there's a handful of things that are going to happen during our little 2-week downtime. The first thing we're going to talk about is, I got to zoom this back out because this map is huge. We're going to talk to Anne. Anne, I believed you were the one that wanted to do some shopping. So we've spent some time. We've got a lot of money now. I don't want to spend a lot of time shopping. I know we had a couple things on our list. So what we're going to do is have a moment for you to be able to go into Waterdeep as our changeling. You can change into your other persona, go into town safely, and purchase the items that y'all are wanting to purchase. So what is it that you wanted to pick up in Waterdeep?
Cordan, we said the wand, right?
Yes, but is she going to go on her own?
That was the plan. Do you want to go with her?
No, but I do want to do this. I want to communicate with Boo on how to relay to her safe and unsafe.
Okay.
So that he can go with her to the shop.
Okay, so Boo, the hamster, who has the ability to kind of sniff out people who have been taken over by intellect devourers or under control of the collective, will travel with Anne, and the signal is he will not growl unless there's a problem. So if you hear the hamster growl, then you'll know that the person that you're speaking to or in the vicinity of, and he'll actually look at the person and growl. So between the communication between, basically Cordan can turn into a hamster, have the hamster talk with the hamster, and then relay the information. So, and you will be traveling to Waterdeep with Boo, who will be riding on your shoulder or in the hood of your cloak, because that's the safest place to be, apparently.
Actually, I don't have to shift anymore. I can just cast Beast Bond and communicate telepathically.
Oh, that's right. That's right. It's way funnier if you go into hamster form, though.
Yeah, but I can only do that twice a day. So.
Okay. I believe it's per short rest.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
That's right. All right, so with that, we're going to go really quick. We're going to send Anne to Waterdeep. And what is it that you're wanting to buy for in the town itself?
Lorex, was there anything that you were looking for?
No, just anything. No, I think we've got everything. We got like grain and stuff to make brew our ale and stuff.
Anne had spoken with Lorex earlier and previously wanted to, because we're making a big inn with a tavern, and Lorex had started doing some microbrews. Thought it would be a really great thing if Lorex made some specialty brews for our inn/tavern to get new people to come in, and did specifically request mead.
Okay. All right, so
anything that we need for that, I think we were looking at potentially 2 goggles of dark vision. Night vision.
Dark.
And then the wand
of enemy detection.
Of enemy detection.
All right, so pretty much in Waterdeep, anything shy of like a legendary item, you're pretty much going to be able to find. So we have already talked out of game the pricing and everything. I don't want to bog the game down. So basically, you're going to go in. Do you have the funds for those 3 items? The main 3 items. The goggles and the wand.
I think so.
Yes. Okay. All right. So to fast forward.
I didn't know how much the wand was, but
4,000 gold.
Oh, so we can only get 1 goggle and the wand.
1 goggle and the wand it is.
1 goggle and the wand.
So your day is going to be spent in Waterdeep, or you're going to go and you're able to purchase these things without a problem. You go to the shopkeep that has these things. Boo doesn't make a sound. So the shopkeep that you're talking to is safe. So you're able to make the purchase of the wand. You're able to make the purchase of the goggles. You go around and look. Now, one thing you notice as you're going through Waterdeep is that food still seems to be scarce. There's a lot of people that are gathering around the different churches that are summoning food and distributing it out to people. And you notice that just kind of looking around that it seems like the power of the town has shifted a little bit from like the nobility to the churches because they're summoning the food. Like, it's not that the open or the lords of Waterdeep don't still have power. You just notice that right now the general populace is flocking to the churches in the temples because they are actively summoning the food. And when it comes to like vegetables and things of that nature, those things are you can still get those things. You just can't get meat. You can't get fish. And also a lot of the grain and things, like even like animals that are used for milling and things of that nature, those were being killed as well by all the fey creatures. So there's a lot of disruption, but the divine magic of the people in Waterdeep are kind of keeping things kind of in check a little bit. That's just something that you noticed through town. Now, was there anything else that you want to do while you're in Waterdeep?
I did actually want to help Vimak figure out what his egg is. So I would have wanted to visit the Mage College. I also wanted to do some looking on mind flayers and collective information without looking for collective information.
Okay.
Trying to.
So you go to your Mages Guild, which is south near the docks. We'll pull up the Waterdeep map here just as a reference in case we need it. Okay, so you return to Waterdeep. You go down to the Mage. At this point, you turn back into Charlotte, which is your persona that you actually attended the Mages Guild with. You head down towards the docks. You go to your Mages Guild. You see some people that you know, and as you walk in, you have full access to the place. You just kind of walk in. There are people looking around, but no one really pays you any attention. What you do see as you go through is there's this library that you have full access to, and you've spent a lot of time in there before, but you've never really looked up these particular things. So as you go in, you can give me... So what's the first thing? We want to take a look at your looking up anything on the egg itself. Egg. Okay, so what this is going to be, this is a nature check. I will give you advantage on the check because you're using the library.
Okay.
Okay, so 11. All right, so you do find lots of information on dragons. You find information on dragon eggs. You actually find images, like sketched images, or like drawn out images of what the different eggs look like, the different characteristics of the eggs. Not a single one in here matches the description of the egg that you're looking for. It is very unique, and it doesn't match any of the metallic dragons, and it does not match any of the monochromatic dragons either. So... we feel it's a dragon egg. You do get some passages about unknown dragon kin that kind of perk up. Well, maybe it's not a dragon. Maybe it's a dragon kin, which is a possibility. But the dragon kin eggs or drakes or things like that, they seem to be a lot smaller. So that doesn't 100% match up, but it definitely feels like whatever this is extremely rare and may not even be native to Faerun.
Okay.
So
not much more information than we had before. Okay.
Yes.
Cool. And then because I knew at the Druid school there was no information on mind flayers at all, I wanted to see if there was any here.
Okay. Give me a knowledge arcana check. And this will be with advantage. I apologize. So roll another one. That's better. All right, so
17.
You do read up on it, and there are some things in here that talk about mind flayers. But what's very interesting is that it states that these creatures used to exist and are no longer an issue. Like it's a myth. Like they don't exist anymore.
They're like unicorns.
Yeah. Well, unicorns actually exist. Mind flayers don't.
Okay. Okay. And does Boo seem weary about anybody in here?
So throughout the town, as you've been walking through, you see he sporadically will kind of snarl in general directions. But no one directly inside the Mages Guild itself does he seem to have an issue with.
Okay.
But there's been several times as you walk around, you hear him snarl.
But nothing in the college specifically.
Not
was
anything in the
my
college.
concern.
Nothing you see in the college itself, no.
Okay. And I would have looked, also wanted to check in about lumber or like building supplies.
Okay. So the dwarves, they came with a lot of tools and things, but as far as lumber, you have plenty of lumber in the woods itself. So natural resources you're not going to have a problem with. But going and finding like new carpenter tools and things like that, those are definitely things you could pick up. So if you want to pick up extra tools, you absolutely can.
Let's do that.
Okay, so go ahead and mark down that, and we'll just kind of give a blanket, carpenter tools. Is there anything else that you want to do while you're in town?
I think that's it.
Okay, all right. So that's kind of what you're going to be doing now. This is a day or two that you're spending in Waterdeep. I know there's some other things that you wanted to do, but now what we're going to do is we're going to go down and talk to. Well, Lorex is eating Chinese food, so we'll skip him. And we'll go down to Wes. So what is Cordan doing during his 2 weeks?
So if we can go back to the other map.
Okay.
I've been told, I believe by you, that in the greater picture of this, there's a river that is somewhat near this land.
It's far. It's not that far, but there is a tributary that comes off of that river that's near the land-ish.
How close would we say?
I mean, it's on the edge of the forest. If you want to you want to divert it back to town. I mean, to your area.
Yeah, so I want to fell some trees for the creation of the inn. I'm going to pray to nature and understand that I'm going to grow more as well, but this is for a much needed protection.
Okay.
The grove is growing over here, and I'm also going to cast plant growth over there, like I said, over an 8-hour period.
Now, as you planted your acorn just yesterday, and then the following days, you see that the sprout has come out of the ground immediately. And it seems like every day that you come out, it has grown twice what it did the day before. It's growing extremely fast. And it's turning into a young sapling, and as it gets bigger, it turns into this tree. And it has these pink flowers that are coming off of it. And it's like a giant cherry blossom. And it's just getting bigger and bigger. Every day it gets even bigger to where within a week it's towering with the rest of the trees. And a week after that, it's taller than the rest of the trees. It just keeps growing and growing. And then quickly becomes a focal point of the forest itself. It has kind of taken over its place. You're also able to use your mold earth and communing with nature. Nature, you feel that the spirits of nature are kind of directing you on where it wants this water to go and the trees that are allowed to be felled. Remember way back long time ago when you first came to the wood, there were several trees here that were dying to something that was here. Remember, that was very early on. Yes. Those are the trees that are marked by nature to be replenished, or to be taken out. So those trees you quickly mark. The dwarves go with you. Meldar, who is still grieving the death of his brother Geldar, is very happy to take axe to tree and let out some aggression. So he's very quickly able to fell the trees that you want. And while you're doing that, the other thing that's happening in town is that the dwarves and the Wildheart clan, so the other dwarves and the Wildheart clan, the Lycans that are with you, they are constructing a proper tavern. They're actually using some of the felled trees that you're using, and they're working extremely quick. And they're able to, instead of having a tent, they're actually building an actual building to have the inn that we had talked about. As a reason for people to come here, to explain why travelers kind of come and go. The guise of the area is not a tavern, but an actual inn itself. So they start building that between using, using thatch and using the wood of itself of the area. So they start building that where their tent used to be. They also, as you are making the water kind of cut through and kind of put a barrier between, the Ancathra land, or the Ancathra stables actually, and this land, the river is going to cut just south. So it's going to kind of come down this way where I'm pinging, and it cuts across the path. As soon as it does that, the dwarves quickly move and start building a bridge to kind of go over that. So we have an update of what the stronghold after your 2 weeks will look like. So here is the update.
Excited.
So now we have a water feature that is cutting through. They have constructed the bridge. They've built or finishing the construction of the inn, and the giant cherry blossom in the back is full grown. And all of the plants around the area that we buried the Inquisitor and all of his men are overcome with new plants, totally covering. You would never know that anyone was buried there because the brush has so just vibrantly taken over the grove. So with that, what is Lorex doing during his 2 weeks?
Oh, this is fantastic. Well, for one, he's admiring the construction of this rivulet. It's beautiful, and the construction of this tavern is just great. He's going to, for one, he's going to be working on these different brews. Of course, the tavern's going to have to be supplied with ale, and he wants to potentially come up with some different recipes that might be inspired by our party members, maybe like a color-changing mead for our changeling friend.
Ooh, perhaps. I like that.
Not my idea either.
And also at this point, Anne is kind of helping set up and run the inn as her new persona, Giselle.
Correct.
And what does Giselle look like? We don't know yet.
Giselle is, I would say, a little bit taller.
Okay.
Half elf.
Half elf?
Half human.
Okay.
Blonde hair, about her 40s, little overweight, like just looks like someone you would want to talk to, but also don't mess with her.
Gotcha.
Like, she runs this place, and this is her place. She knows every corner of every inch of everything, and she has eyes in the back of her head to be able to see.
Right. So as you're setting everything up, you've noticed that both Blaze and Thornton, the other Wildhearts, the humans, they are very, very helpful and a lot of the heavy lifting. You notice that even though they're human, it seems that their lichen blood or whatever it is gives them this supernatural strength. Like the dwarves will fell a tree and they'll just pick it up and just carry the log over. I mean, they're real like movers. So between having them and then having Mari there as well to kind of help move things around, things are going extremely fast. Like it's shocking just in a couple of weeks what a handful of dwarves and the Wildhearts working together are able to construct. It's amazing. Also, coupled with, the magic of the mold earth and everything as well, things are able to kind of get built faster in this world than you would normally be. So this is normal.
Is there anything that we need to do to get the Kuatoa situated in the water feature that we have outside now?
So I believe...
Do they build like homes underneath? Like,
I believe Cordan had some ideas with that.
Yeah, I was going to shape it down enough to where it comes up and has like an underground grotto where they could come up and be on land.
Where do you want the grotto to be?
I want the grotto to be somewhere over in this area, so that once underground, we might be able to make an entrance into the crypt, so that they could get out through the grotto and come back into the crypt.
Ooh, okay. All right, so we've got a big tunneling, thing. So basically, we're going to build the grotto,
if you will,
an excavation from here to the crypt entrance here. So you want to be able to kind of connect the two and have like a different entrance. I dig it. All right, so you're working on that.
Excellent. So the one other thing that we need is establish like some supply chains to make sure that we're getting the resources that we need, which includes food. Mm-hmm. Making sure we have provisions that we can feed all the people that are going to be at this compound.
Okay. So with the summoning of animals that we now have with Cordan, that helps. But you're also thinking about, you're going to need, now one thing you do find is that there's a lot of land behind this. Like on the other side of the tree, if we go all the way up, there's more land. There's kind of like a hill that kind of goes down. There's more land behind there. And it's been kind of brush, tree, like this is kind of the better end of the forest, but as you go down, there's more land. So you could build something in the back of it for, like you said, for more, farming or food or anything like that. So there's more options behind you.
We'd also need some kind of trading going on. Like we need to not necessarily be one of us going out into the city, but making sure that a follower or two kind of have that trade network going on, so we can use the gold that we have or some of the provisions we have and trade for other supplies that we might need.
So it looks like you need to launder the money that you robbed from the Order of the Gauntlet into town. Was that what I'm hearing? Because it sounded like that.
No, nothing shady. A little bit of money laundering, but that's being taken care of by smelting down their armor and building new, right?
I think you're talking
like money we get from the the yawning portal bounties and stuff like that, like using some of the money that we get to help cover what we need.
Charlotte would be happy to go and help, like maybe take two people or something like that to like be like, these are my people, and creating relationships with her nobility.
Perfect.
Nice. Okay. So I think we've got this established. All right, so now we're going to pass our 2-week downtime. Okay. During this time, I do want to point out that Vimak has also been, during some downtime, been helping train the dwarves. He's been helping them train with the fighting. And also the Kuatoa. The Vimak has been helping the Kuatoa as well with some fighting styles and trying to get them out of, he keeps arguing about how they leave themselves open. They're too aggressive. You're too aggressive. So he's under the cover of night, or in the crypt itself, he'll actually train the Kuatoa. They try to keep the Kuatoa. They aren't really like a welcomed race around, so we don't want people seeing the Kuatoa that are here. So they're mainly spending time in the water, and the only time they really come out is at night to feed. And I'm assuming we're still summoning sharks to feed the Kuatoa.
Yeah, that's needed, or octopus, or whatever.
Oh, well, they change it up. Never know.
And if he summons more than is needed, we can also harvest some and like save it for a later meal. Yeah. So he doesn't need to be casting it every day.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So with that, 2 weeks have passed. We've spent a lot of time just basically getting set up, normalized, just getting back in. We've just had so much happening at once. And people are starting to, the tavern or the inn is open. Do we have a name? Have we named the inn? We didn't even talk about
Beatles 2.
I have a suggestion.
You have a suggestion? Okay, I'm ready. What's your suggestion?
What is the name of the inn?
Geldar's Keg.
I like it. The dwarves
Geldar.
I like it so much.
I like it. Geldar's Keg. The dwarves love the idea.
What about the Lorex?
Gildar's keg! And you're completely... The dwarves are just... No. It's Geldar's keg. This is perfect. All right, so Geldar's keg is the name of the inn. The dwarves love it. We christen it with a night of drinking and tomfoolery, and with that, the inn is open, and at that point, people start trickling in as word gets out of a new inn in town.
With meat.
With meat. Right. So we're just starting to get more and more people come in at first. And that's a welcome sight. So now it kind of legitimizes everything here. There's still, the dwarves themselves are kind of setting up the tent that was behind you, the Storbrick's tent. But other people are starting to come in and started asking, could we build here? You've got extra land? Like the people are starting to look and ask, because this seems to be like, this was always like this force that was off to the side. Now, there has been talk, Thorbrick had to go to the Amcathras, Hank, who owns the land, and the deal that was struck was that every month that 5% of the profits would go to the Amcathras, and with that, you have full access to the land. They weren't even using the land, it was just their family land. So now they have a standing deal that whatever coin is brought in, and the other thing too with the Amcathras, you're bringing customers. They have to walk right by the stables to go to the inn. So it's good for them to be able to put their horses out to sell as you've basically opened up an attraction. So it kind of works. It's a symbiotic relationship. Everyone's happy with this this arrangement. And
they can house people's horses if they get to stay for a couple days, right?
That's true.
And I do want to recommend that the dwarves open their own forge here.
Well, that is something they opened up before. Now, the building next to it, there's actually a large tent over the top of it. I haven't put it on here yet, but basically that's what this is. They're building a smithy. So basically, if people need to come in and shoe a horse or something like that, they've got that set up as well. But remember, they're kind of building that on the ruins of the Baravan.
Right.
So it was one of those questions that y'all kind of debating, like, do we build on top of this?
Yeah, we're actually in the borders. Should we have moved this a little bit to the side there, I'm asking in hindsight? Because you got one of the borders right here.
That's there, yeah. So that's these are the 4 pillars.
Should have been over here.
Didn't we want to build the tavern over the entrance to the...
The tavern has been shifted.
Because weren't we trying to protect the crypt? Wasn't that the part of?
Well, we were going to make another entrance from the basement into this.
Also, this is the first building. You can build other buildings.
Okay.
Right.
Cool.
This was the first building.
All right. Was the forge a temporary setup that they had going?
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll need them to move that so we can rebuild the.
We're going to see this as an adventurer stop,
right?
More for the wilderness, less for the yawning portal.
Okay. Ooh, I like that. All right. Okay. So with that, it's been 2 weeks. People are starting to come in, and we're in the tavern itself. We're in the inn. We're in Geldar's keg, and everyone is there tasting the latest mead collect. What am I? I'm trying to spit out. Creation.
Keep saying collective.
I know. The latest mead
foreshadowing.
Creation. Foreshadowing is foreshadowing. And what we see is people are coming in and enjoying that. We have meat on the table. But there's still talking about all of the issues that we're seeing with, the Fae coming in and out. And what we see now is somebody comes in, Cordan, you're sitting there having your meat at the table, and a little scamper comes up behind you, and you sit down, you look down, and you see something crawl up and sit on the bench next to you, and you look down, and you notice it is a squirrel. It's a squirrel you've seen before.
The squirrel that gave me the acorn.
Yes, you notice
I never forget a squirrel.
You never forget a squirrel. He sits down, he looks up at you, and he looks about, and he begins to shift out of squirrel. He's not actually a squirrel. He's actually a druid. And you see this giant, this squirrel just kind of like
some other rodent.
No, he turns into this massive. He's even bigger than you, and it takes a minute for him to take form. And you see his ears kind of like go from like these little squirrel ears to kind of like sticking out, these long green ears. And he kind of hunches over, and this giant furbog is sitting next to you. And let me introduce him to you. And this is Sork, the furbog. And he reaches over and goes, "Hi, I love what you've done to the place."
Took a little while, but it's shaping up.
I was running around outside and collecting acorns and saw that your acorn has done quite well.
Yes, I do believe that was Jareth Falcon's blessing.
Yes, it was. And I wanted to tell you that she is quite aware of your plight against the,
Yes.
And I wanted to tell you that, well, I'm actually part of a small organization that's looking into the matter as well.
Oh, that's good to hear that others are looking into it. As I'm talking to him, I am telepathically speaking to Boo with Peace Bond and asking him to come over to the table.
With that, Giselle, and you're cleaning, and Boo is right there at the table as well. I imagine Boo's got like a little rag, and he's like wiping down the counter. And
get him an apron.
Could get like a little apron. He's got a little rag, and he's wiping down the counter. And as soon as you just see him kind of perk up, and he puts his rag down, takes off his apron, slams it down, and then scampers across the tavern, and runs over to see his friend Cordan.
Okay. I just I don't trust anybody now.
Mm-hmm.
At first, so I'm getting a read.
Yes. What is it, friend? This is Boo.
Is there anyone in the bar right now that's sitting you?
No, but strange folk are about. I sniffed something on the outside, but it wasn't one of them. It was something else. I keep sniffing it on the roof into there. Yes.
On the roof now?
Yes, I sniff it now. I thought it was one of your friends.
I'm gonna wave over to Anne.
And Giselle comes over.
Right.
How can I help you?
A friend of mine saying there might be something on the roof.
I will.
And I'm gonna look at Boo.
Someone look at that.
Sork is looking around like, well,
do I hear someone playing the fiddle?
You want me to go look as well? The giant.
That's okay. We have someone that can very easily do that, and I would just tell Soot to go fly around and see what he sees.
In that case, if you don't mind getting me a mead, I'd appreciate it.
Absolutely. Would you like our famous color-changing mead?
I've heard so much about it.
I'll get that right for you.
He's a charming chap. Large, a little off-putting at first with his giant, ears. And furbolgs are kind of rare. You've never heard of them, never seen one, but he just seems very pleasant. So Giselle goes to get the beverage for Sork. Cordan, what are you doing?
I want to find if there is a name for his group.
Oh, yes. And as Giselle brings her, he takes a sip and goes, yes, I'm with the Harpers.
The Harpers?
Yes.
Oh, so this has made it to them.
Yes, we're quite aware.
Well, this is getting much bigger than I expected. Do they know of us?
I've told them a little bit, but they also have concerns about some of the people you keep company with. We've heard there's a nasty rumor going around, and I'm sure it's not true, that you're dealing with necromancy.
Oh, no. Who would do that? Such a thing?
Right. Just want to make sure you're not dealing with undead in any way.
Dealing with undead? No.
Deception check?
Yes!
Alright, so for deception, Cordan rolls a mighty 9. Sork rolls a 7. So you lie your pants off and he buys it.
I didn't actually lie. I just said dealing? No. I don't deal.
So with that, he goes, well, I'll leave it to it, but I'll be back.
What do they need from us?
Oh, just keeping an eye on the situation, and I'll come sporadically and ask for any information. Right now we're compiling a list.
Well, I have 4 names for your list.
Oh, do you? What names do you have?
I will give him the 4 names of the heads.
And those names are, you had a Dorgar Abaret.
It's Dorgar Arborbrent.
Yes.
Zuzina Keldar Duresk.
He's writing these down.
Laurel Silverhand.
And he stops, he breaks his quill as he's writing. He goes, Lady Silverhand, are you sure?
Positive.
You're telling me the Open Lord of Waterdeep is in league with the Collective? How do you know?
And I'm going to look him dead in the eye and say, without a doubt.
He drinks his last bit. He goes, well, I have much traveling to do, and he kind of like stretches his arm back, and you hear this pop in his shoulder, and then as he starts to spin, he turns into a hawk, and you see him like flap his wings.
Before he flies off, I want to try to get him to perch.
Okay, he does.
I'm going to pull up to the hawk, and I'm going to say, we have a way of finding who they are.
And he just kind of like turns his head, and then he flies. So with that, Sork leaves, and with that, what is Lorex doing at this time?
He's shirking. He's shirking all duties. He's off. He's hanging out over here on the water, drinking with one of the Kuatoa.
All right, so there's a lot of stuff going on over there, but the moment you show up over there, that Giselle's going to hand you a mop. She's going to tell you to do something. So you've just skedaddled.
It's the lot of them. It's between Giselle, Cordan, Miles. It's all of them. They're going to make me do something.
Right. All right. So you're hanging out with Hilfin Sharketh. He's one of the Kuatoa, and you're drinking, and he's kind of wading in the water, but he's staying in the water because they know they have to kind of stay out of sight. And the two of you are just talking, and he is just totally enamored with you because remember, they revere you as some sort of god. And what you're learning to the Kuatoa is if they believe something is a god, their belief can be strong enough to where it manifests in some way. And you're kind of learning that, and you're beginning to question, like, how long have they had this belief?
Meanwhile, I've got my Huck Fin on. Like, I've got my boots off, feet in the water, fish and pole out.
Okay. All right. So you do have fish. Now, that's the other thing, is because this is coming from an actual river itself, there are fish. Now, you're not going to catch anything because anything that comes remotely close to that grotto is going to get annihilated by the Kuatoa. So it's small pickings.
I tell them to give me a little space. We're going to be upriver from the grotto.
Oh, so you just move out. You just move through the wood.
I can catch stuff, and they'll catch anything that
you miss. Okay, so you basically go upriver basically to try to catch.
I'm out there. I'm out there to have a good time, really.
All right. So with your fishing background, you're easily able to catch some fish. And you catching fish is kind of a big deal because one, there's not a lot of fish around unless you get summoned. So you kind of feel this, hey, I actually am catching something, and you pull up. That's a nice bass that you pull out. As soon as you pull it out, you look up and you see Hilfin kind of look up at you and go, "Are you going to eat that?" He's kind of turning with one eye.
This one, no. You can have this one.
All right,
the next one will be for me.
Oh, good. And so when you toss it, he leaps out of the water and just like eats it completely, and there's like fish grease coming off the side of the fish. Delicious.
Perfect. Well done.
All right, so you're getting to know the Kuo-toa. At this point, you're fishing. Give me a perception check.
A perception check is what I shall give you.
You will give me a perception check.
Let me hit the old perception check button. Does it rely on sight, sir?
It does.
Then I will roll with advantage.
Because of your goggles.
Yeah, and I rolled twice on accident again.
So we're going to take the first
19.
one. So you rolled a 19. All right, so you're fishing, so you're kind of up this way here. You're up a little bit of a hill, so you can actually see the roof of the inn in the distance. And as you toss the fish, you kind of look over, and in the distance, there's a lot of light and torches and stuff. It is night, but it's lit. You look over, you see a shadowy figure moving about the roof of the inn.
Can I make out with my goggles? Can I make out? I should be able to make out the details, right?
You absolutely can, because of your magic item that you can pick out details in the distance.
The eyes of the eagle, right?
The DM forgot that the cunning eyes of our dwarf, nothing gets past him. As you look, and you do make out that whatever is up there has a tail. It's a human, but has a tail. And as you look, as it kind of moves about, you're like, you've had dealings with these types before. It's one of those smelly tabaxi.
Oh, it's a smelly tabaxi. All right. I'm going to invoke my genie legs. Go misty legs, and I'm going to fly up there.
All right, when you fly off, the eyes...
I'm going to sneak up on him.
The eyes of Hilfin go from big to even bigger as you fly off, and he just like looks up in admiration.
And I say nothing to Hilfin.
Right. He can fly. So you invoke your genie flight to kind of move, and you kind of start hovering over. Now you're very quietly moving. There's no sound coming at all from your flight. There's no flapping of wings. You're just kind of hovering up over. You move over the tent of the forge itself, and you look down and you see this shadowy individual like lurking about, and is kind of like, if you look here, there's kind of a crack. It's like a vent, for and he's kind of looking in, and he's kind of looking and listening inside the tavern itself.
I get as close to him as possible. I kind of lean over in his ear and, what are you doing?
Give me a stealth check.
All right. I will give you a stealth check.
Also, is Soot up there as well?
You didn't tell me he was.
I did. Actually, when Cordan said it, I said that I would send Soot up there.
Okay, so you're sending Soot. So this is kind of happening at the same time.
Okay.
All right, so your stealth is a 22.
I got a 9. No, it's a 9. It's with disadvantage.
Oh, it's with disadvantage. Oh.
The rattling of my armor.
The rattling of your armor. He doesn't see you because you rolled a 9 and he rolled, that would be an 8. So you get right up behind this tabaxi that's perched up. About this time, you do see the flapping of wings of Soot coming up, the pseudo dragon coming up as well, and kind of like off to your side. You get all the way up to him, and you say what you say. What do you say? Line.
What are you doing?
And as soon as you do that, he jumps like 4 feet out, like straight up, like, ah! And he lets out this scream as you just terrified this poor guy. And he kind of clings to the next part of it. He puts his cat claws into the side of it and looks and goes, "Where did you come from?"
You answer my question first. And if he runs off, I'll prepare to do something.
Okay. He says,
if he tries to get away.
I've traveled far. I'm looking for someone.
Who are you looking for?
Who are you? He's still hanging off to the side.
Let's put it this way. I might be able to find the person you're looking for, and I might have to We can either meet on friendly terms, or I can drag you to him with your paws tied behind you.
He still hangs on. He goes,
like some kind of.
I don't want to cross blades with you, sir. I was looking for someone. Anne.
Who sent you here?
I'm looking for Anne.
An Anne. And why are you looking for an Anne?
Well, I saw...
There's no Anne here at this time.
Oh, well, the gods sent me.
The gods?
I saw something. I was curious if she was here. I saw a vision of this place.
A vision? This sounds similar to like the stories that we've gotten from the Wildheart clan and such, right?
They were here for refuge. This is different. This is he saw something from the gods. Crazy cat.
That's fair. Very well. I'll take you to her. Why are you sneaking about though? Why not just come with me? Come with me.
And he goes, "Who are you?"
I am Lorex, and I just say it with like a.
I love all of this. Okay, and with that, he kind of like releases his claws and kind of slowly slides down the side, and he goes,
"Float down."
Do you know this? Do you know this Anne?
I know someone who might be able to lead you to her.
I fear she's in danger.
You'll need to speak with Giselle.
Giselle, I heard of Giselle in the side. I was listening.
Yes, the tavern keep.
Yes.
The innkeeper, the owner here.
Oh, you won't harm me.
I won't harm you. As long as you don't mean any harm to this Anne.
Oh no, I don't. I swear on my patron.
I'll just insight just to be sure.
Okay.
I don't want a metagame. I might as well insight.
He seems truthful.
Okay, I'll believe him.
But you do sense that he is absolutely terrified.
I'd be terrified too. He's got the hair standing. His back's a little arched still.
Right.
He's walking sideways.
So
tail's really puffy.
This is a solid black with like these white markings on his eyes. He's got a hood that he's pulled up, and he's kind of like he's still hanging on the side. He's like he's looking down. You notice that he seems to be terrified of the situation. You don't know if he's scared of you or where he's at, but he's terrified.
Listen.
All right, I'll lead him in the front.
Okay,
I'll lead him into the tavern.
It takes him a while to climb down. Now, you've met Tabaxi before. They seem to climb up and down. This one doesn't. This one very gingerly...
Doesn't climb too well.
Gingerly climbs down, gently sticks his paw out looking for the ground, doesn't quite find it, pulls itself back up, and he takes forever. And you're just watching like, what is with this guy? As he finally gets down, and at this point you're standing on the ground like this took forever, and he gets down and he goes, "Sorry, I don't like heights. So where are you taking me?"
Sorry. I'm sorry. Well, I'm taking you somewhere safe. Clear of any heights of any sort. and you can keep your hood up for safety.
Oh, good. He keeps his hood up, and he's kind of like he's sneaking behind you. Now he's very quiet. He's very quiet as he's sneaking up behind you. He's like,
"Well, lead him into the tavern, and lead him towards the back of the room, and kind of shuffle him off into
right, so the doors of the tavern open. Lorix's walking in. This Tabaxi's kind of like cowering behind him, looking in, and looks over the area. Goes, I don't see Anne, or at least what I think.
Is there like a
like.
Private area that I can take?
The kitchen. The kitchen.
I'll take him into the kitchen. Here, we'll get you into the kitchen. All
right. So
is Giselle out here, or is she in the back?
You see, Giselle's at the bar.
I'll motion for her to come to the kitchen.
Okay. I just realized for next week, I need to make an interior map of the tavern. I didn't realize how much time we'll be spending in the tavern, which will be fun to make. All right, so with that,
theater of the mind.
Theater of the mind. All right, so with that, you take your new Tabaxi acquaintance into the very back of the tavern itself. You pull him into the kitchen, and he kind of like looking around, very meek and just skittish. As he kind of looking around, like every sound, he just kind of like jumps and looks.
Throw a cucumber near him.
No, get him a bowl of milk or something. Feed him. And motioning
he
for
goes,
Giselle.
But do you have milk?
Do we have milk?
No.
I imagine we have milk.
No,
we don't have milk.
We don't.
What
have
about our
milk?
supply
We don't
chain?
have cows. We don't have anything.
No.
Trading for this kind of thing.
No milk.
Cream and butter and such.
Damn it! I'll make a goat.
Okay.
All
right. So you two about that now, Giselle. You come like kind of like it's a busy night. A lot's going on. You walk in the kitchen. You see Lorex, and you see this timid little Tabaxi. And she's like, and as soon as you walk in, the Tabaxi kind of like jumps back and kind of scampers behind.
We've got a friend who's a little afraid. He says he's worried that Anne might be in danger, and wondering if you might be able to help him with that.
Why are you looking for Anne?
I have traveled far, and I saw a vision. My God showed me this vision of something horrible happening, and just darkness coming over, and there was this girl, and well, I don't want to say too much. Do you know? I need to find this Anne. I believe she's in trouble. I believe my God is sending me to warn her of something.
You can tell me anything that you would need to tell Anne. We are very, very, very close.
I'm not going to roll an insight check because you're telling the truth. But he looks at you, goes, well, okay, and he kind of comes forward a little bit. He goes, well, I have traveled very far over a different land, or hard to explain exactly, but and he looks around and he goes, do you have a pen and quill? It's easier if I explain this to you, because it's not in a way that a lot of people can understand.
You can't speak it? You need to write it?
If I tell it to you, most people can understand it.
Oh,
I'll pull out a pen and a quill for you.
All right, so he pulls out a pen. He pulls out a pen and a quill, and he just draws a straight line across it. And he goes, "All right, so this line here, this is where you are, okay?" And then he draws a line down from it. He goes, "And this line is where I came from. I went from my line, my timeline, to your timeline. I have traveled timelines." Does that make sense?
Yes.
So my line will be parallel to yours. The world is very similar, but I have traveled from that time to this time because my God is the God of these lines. Have you heard of Savras?
Nice.
Not super familiar, but have heard. Yes.
Well, Savras is the God of time and other things, but he has shown me that all of these lines kind of converge in a way, and well, I fear that what's happening in this timeline may affect other timelines. There's something happening in your version of Waterdeep that's not happening in mine, but it will.
So if we stop it here, we could stop it for you.
And other timelines as well.
There is something happening here, absolutely.
Well, I need to tell Anne this. Is it something I need to give this information to Anne.
Can I insight check? Because she's still very cautious.
Absolutely.
Anne doesn't want to show that she can shift to anybody.
Okay.
He probably will just walk out, change to Anne, and come back in.
Perfect. All right.
but I still would like to insight because everybody's been hunting Anne.
All right.
So insight, here we go. That's a 17 plus 7.
So you rolled a 24 total for your insight. You sense
Correct.
everything he is telling you is true. That being said, you also get the sense that he is, like, you can hear his heart beating across the room. He's terrified of the situation, or what. There's something going on that he is terrified of.
Okay. I will say if you stay here, Lorex, maybe get him a glass of meat or your best brew. I will be right back. I'll grab Anne. I'll send you in here.
Of course. I'm sorry. The meat is the best we can do. We were supposed to have milk and cream.
Oh no, meat is fine. And
not cooperating.
You.
What's your name, sir?
Soto.
Soto.
Yes, Soto.
Soto.
I am the servant of Savras.
I knew it. Called it.
So Anne would probably go out, do a perception check around, make sure that there's nobody around her, and then shift and then come in.
All right, so you come back in as Anne, and as soon as you do, Soto, I am prepared.
Cannot with you.
Soto.
Is a kitty.
Oh, look at him.
Right. So Soto, the servant of Savras, he goes, I have traveled far, and like I said, to meet you, Anne, and he kind of he retells everything he just did. He shows the pen, but he goes into a little bit more detail. He goes, I had to travel to a shrine of Savras and perform a very strange and hard ritual that the Savras, the spirit himself, showed me how to do. To travel here, to tell you that whatever this darkness is, it is not. It affects all of timelines together. I don't know how. I don't understand how these things weave together, but it seems that the gods, or at least Savras himself, is interested in your plight.
Okay. Did he give you any information on how to stop it?
The ways of Savras are very confounding and mysterious, and often comes to me in riddles and visions, and a lot of things that he'll show me are things that happened in different timelines, different things. It's so confusing. The only thing I can do is I'm a bit of a fortune teller.
And what can you see?
Well, what would you like me to try to see?
Is there a possibility of us stopping whatever this is from bleeding into your timeline?
Oh, I can see. I can attempt to see your fate. And with that, he goes and he pulls out this deck of cards, and he deals them across the table, and he's kind of shuffling. It's a strange deck of cards as he kind of like shuffles them across the table, and he goes, "Would you choose 2 cards?"
Are they in different piles? Are they?
He basically like dealt out like 8 cards out of this deck, and they're all sitting there. Just choose any 2. See what fate is.
Do you want me to roll 2 dice?
Yes. Roll 2d8. 2d8. Yeah. All right.
Chooses the same card twice.
You rolled a 3 and a 4.
4.
So you take 2 cards out of the middle, and he takes the first one, the 3, and he flips it over, and he goes, "Oh, okay. So this represents now. This is something I will show you something that's happening now." And you flip the 4, and the 4 flips over, and you see like this the image on this card is like this swirling fog, and he flips it over. And he goes, "Oh, why would you choose? This is the Shadowfell. What is happening now in the Shadowfell?"
There's something happening now in the Shadowfell that's affecting.
No. This is the first card is here with you now.
Yes.
And the second one is the Shadowfell. What does that world have to do with this one?
As you've jumped timelines, sometimes worlds here, Shadowfell type idea can be connected a little bit and have some things that are
I fear it's more than that. Something is happening now here. And he kind of looks around and goes, "Are we safe here?"
And we may want to check with the big guy.
I think so.
On this.
Okay. All right. So with that, sort of goes, well, and I came here to serve you and to help you in any ways until Savras bids me leave. What would you have me do?
I would have you sit here and relax for a minute.
Okay.
Enjoy your drink.
You've
traveled very far.
He takes his mead and he kind of takes a lick out of it, like a little kitty lick out of the goblet of mead, and he goes, I'll make my way to the tavern and meet some of your guests, I guess. I'm interested in hearing more of the tales. And with that, he exits and he goes, I'll be here if you need me. So he disappears into the crowd. He finds a table to finish sipping his mead. So with that, what does Anne and Lorex want to do? Let's start with Anne.
Lorex, I'm not. I trust what he's saying. I'm not getting any bad insight on him specifically, but do you want to go speak with the big cheese?
Yeah, I think we definitely need to. The connection to the Shadowfell makes me think of both the creatures we fought in this area before and certain deals that may have been made, and we need to.
Enough said. Absolutely.
Figure out what's going on. Do we have quarters yet for people to stay? Is the inn that operable?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And we should probably set up quarters for our new friend Soto, however you pronounce his name.
Do you want me to do that quickly and meet you down below?
Well, we can have one of the other workers do that, right? In any case, I'll be down below.
You can grab one of the dwarves.
And I walk off Cordan style.
Okay.
I turn and walk away.
All right.
That's right.
So basically the two of you are going to head towards Thorbrick's tent in the back to go talk to Miles. As you're doing that, all right, so Cordan, where are you in all of this?
I have no idea. I don't know where I got left off at.
So you're in the tavern itself. You finished your conversation with. You saw the cat come in. You saw Lorex go in the back. You're just kind of hanging out, not really knowing what's going on. You do see the cat come out of the kitchen, the boxy. And then you see Lorex leaving and then heading out.
And I give Cordan a tap on the shoulder and kind of point as I walk out.
I'll follow.
Okay. So the three of you at this point kind of meet back as you're about to go into Thorbrick's tent. Cordan, you stop cold as you look up and you see the branches of your the cherry blossom tree, your giant tree, your grove. It is shaking with the wind, and you notice that something is off with the wood. Something is off.
Tell them I'll be right there, and I'm going to run over that way.
Now, you two see him kind of leave off into the woods. What do the two of you want to do?
Beware the Shadowfell!
I would probably just perception check to see if there's anything.
Okay, so both of you, this is going to be passive. Both of you kind of look around. You don't sense anything. You two are standing back at the tent. Cordan, you go up to the tree, and in the distance, you see like this rolling fog happening to the land behind your grove up this way. There's like this rolling fog, and you swear that you hear voices echoing in the dark. But almost like whispers. Like it's there, then it's gone.
Can I tell a language?
It was common. With your keen hearing, you sense that you heard something that said something like, quick, it's opening.
Oh, God. I know what it is. It's those things. Have they disappeared yet?
I wouldn't have gone down without.
They're 30 feet behind you.
We're outside the tent.
Yeah, but I wouldn't have gone down without Cordan if he's running off.
And I wouldn't have gone with him either.
No, I would have stayed back a minute.
I think I would shout the creatures from the Shadowfell.
I'll draw a sword and head towards him.
I'd ready myself as well.
Okay. So, are all three of you just going to go and kind of investigate this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the three of you move to the trees. As you move forward, you're going now. As you're walking through the woods, who's first, second, third? Like, who's leading the pack here?
Well, Cordan's ahead of us, right?
Yeah, Cordan's ahead of you. All right.
And
so
then
Cordan, you're walking in
second.
front of you. As you're walking through, you just notice that something is off with the wood. And as you get a little bit closer, you see like this fog that it's thicker in front of you, but then you can see a little bit through it. And then it kind of is seeping into your wood because there's kind of a little bit of a separation between your wood and this kind of back lot that y'all have. As you move forward, you look down and you look to see small footprints that are basically have left from. They're heading into the fog. You do see small footprints heading into the fog. One set.
I'm going to call out in Sylvan. This is not your wood.
Okay. You call out and you hear this this growl come back to you. Goes, it is our wood. You recognize the voice. It's Mari.
What are you doing here?
And out of the fog, you see this little head coming and goes, what are you doing here?
It's my grove.
Well, is this your tree?
Actually, yes, it is my tree.
You look over, as you get closer to the tree, all of the bark on that tree has been ripped off. And you see, Mari, you look and it's all kind of like on the ground close to Mari. It seems that she was like in bear form, scratching her back against the tree.
You little...
What
did you do to my tree?
I didn't think anyone would care. I mean, there's lots of trees, and I got a scratch.
Yeah, and they all look different except for this tree.
Oh, no, it's not that tree. It's a different tree. It's not that tree. It's just a different tree.
Well, he's still very upset.
And this tree's fine. Whatever.
And she goes, well, fine. And she kind of gets back and goes, so, what's with the fog? Is this you?
This is not me. I thought it was you.
And she looks and goes, there is no reason you would think this fog is me, of all things.
Good point. Well, do you smell anything?
And she goes, well, actually, yes, there is something foul in the air now that you mention it. Yes, quite foul.
What does it smell like?
It smells... And you hear this voice again say in the distance echo, and all of you hear it. You hear what sounds like this very familiar voice say, oh no, it's escaped! And it closes. You could have sworn it was the voice of Minsk.
And I'm going to go, Minsk?
Where's Boo?
Back in the tavern.
Okay, so...
well, he was at the table with me, so maybe he did come with me.
Alright, so Boo is with you. Boo, lifts his head as well, and he goes, and you see Boo, jump down and kind of, start scurrying through, the woods, and very quickly. So what do you want to do? Boo's charging.
I go with Boo. I go with him. I'm charging with him. I'm right behind him.
All right, so you all three kind of charge after Boo. Boo's dashing, but it's hard to keep up with him. He's moving so fast. But you kind of push through into this fog, and there's the...
I'll go Genie mode.
All right, so you go Genie mode, so you're flying, okay? But you're still in this fog. As you go about, you smell that same smell you smelt that first night, a long time ago it feels, but it was only a few days. Whenever during Fayday, you smelt that burnt ozone. You smell that again, but on a lot grander scale. As you go back and you're basically like pushing through this fog, and you kind of pass a boulder and some plants and some trees, but just like this kind of sparse thicket that you're moving through, that's like covered in this fog. So Lorex, you're flying through. What is Anne doing?
I would probably be taking back point and like readying a bow and an arrow.
All right, so you've got your bow and arrow and just kind of looking about. Okay. Give me a perception check from the back.
19 plus 4, 23.
In the distance, you hear a roar. Give me a quick nature check. It's very, very faint, but from your distance, you can hear it. You don't know what it is, but you definitely heard a growl in the distance.
I would pass that up. I would say, I heard a growl. I don't know what it is. There's definitely something forward.
Okay, so
prepare to fight.
Cordan, you as well. Your passive perception is so high and you're alert. You heard the same thing she did, but it sounded feline in nature.
It's those cats, isn't it? I think it's those cats that we fought.
It sounds different. It sounds bigger.
Ooh.
It's one big cat.
It's Mega Chungus!
Okay. With that, Lorex, so you're flying. You've got your sword drawn. Cordan, is there anything that you're going to be doing? The only thing that you've got right now, you've got moonlight and you've got darkness. So you don't have any problems. Lorex doesn't. You see fine because of your dwarven vision.
I guess I would go archer form.
Okay. All right, so you illuminate and turn into archer form. As you do that, you hear another roar, much louder and very different. I'm going to say all three of you give me nature checks. All right, so we have
I don't know why I'm not roll twice.
Cordan gets an 11, Lorex gets a 19, and Anne is that a 9 for Anne?
A 9, yeah.
Okay, so Lorex, you're a little bit higher up, and that roar, you hear it better now than you heard it before, and it doesn't sound feline to you. That sounds draconic. That sounds
more like a dragon to me.
That sounded big.
Can I judge at all how big of a dragon?
It was loud, but you don't know. That's hard to tell.
Can I judge at least so it's not like a...
It was loud.
It was loud.
Yeah.
We should be careful.
What have they heard it back at camp? Like at the tavern?
I don't know. You're not there. Maybe. It was loud.
I'm just trying to think of how loud, right? Like, would it have gone that far back or just this area?
Right. All right. So at this point, Lorex, you're flying. Cordan is in front of you. You're in full archer mode. And you're further back with the bow, correct? Okay.
Correct.
Mari, now, Boo has disappeared in the darkness. Mari, looking around, sniffing around, immediately just shifts into bear form, into her werebear form, and she starts sniffing around the ground and kind of like looking about, and she kind of catches wind of something and darts off to your right and disappears into the fog.
I'd follow her.
Okay, now you're further back, so she's up with Cordan at this point.
Oh, okay.
So now I got a question for vision. So the only light we've got right now is Cordan up front, who's basically showing off his
light
constellation, the light show. And then
got those new goggles.
And you've got your new goggles. So you put on your night vision goggles, you slide that down and you look about. And as you do that and you're in the back, you see the fog move slightly, as if like some wind pushed the fog in the opposite direction of the wind itself, as if something was flying through it.
It's definitely airborne.
Cordan, you're up front. Give me a perception check.
I'm looking.
22. 22. All right.
Amazing.
So you rolled a 9 and got a 22. You're up front with the light on with your circle of stars, Druid. You're in the archer form. And there's a brief moment that through the cloud, through this fog, you see this like reptilian tail like dipped under the cloud for just half a second. And it suddenly hits you that you feel that you're being hunted. But there is a moment, if you want to react, you see the tail of this thing.
I want to. I think I want to cast. Boy, I did not have change. I didn't get to change since I was doing excavation.
Okay.
I'm going to cast Summon Beast.
What are you going to summon?
Something that flies.
Okay. So you're going to summon a flying beast. So you immediately cast this summon. You summon this thing up. Now, as the tail dips down, I want to give Lorex, give me a perception check as well. It is vision, so you get advantage on this.
All right. Yield 12.
You do see the tail as well. Now, because you're higher up, you're flying.
How big is the tail? Is this? I'm trying to judge whether we should run away or we can get engaged.
6 feet.
Oh, easy. Okay, I'm going to cast Spirit Shroud and prepare to attack.
Okay.
How far away is it?
60 feet. No, take it back. 45 feet.
45 feet? All right.
Spirit Shroud?
Spirit Shroud, and I'm going to start moving closer.
Okay, all right. So you start moving closer, and you're all the way in the back. Give me a perception check as well to see if you see the tail. Oh, Spirit Shroud, are you attacking with Spirit Shroud?
It doesn't do damage. But if I'm within 10 feet of... If something starts its turn and it's within 10 feet of me, its speed is reduced by 10 feet.
Gotcha. And you see the tail as well. You see a lot of things happening. You see your two friends in front of like they're preparing for combat. You've got bow, you've got arrow knocked. You see that tail dip under the cloud or under the fog. Do you want to hold your action or do you want to take a shot? What do you want to do?
Is there any way I can cast light on the tail by seeing it?
What is the range on light? Do you have to touch it? I thought you had to touch.
Oh, it is touch.
Yeah.
It is touch. Okay. I probably wouldn't attack yet. I would just stay ready.
Okay. All right. With that,
I'll hold my action.
Yeah.
My Spirit Shroud's a bonus action. So if anything comes within.
All right. So basically,
Summon Beast get an attack or.
So Summon Beast is your action. So basically, y'all are basically getting around here. You're casting Summon Beast. That will be in play. Lorex is holding his action, waiting for the trigger of this thing to appear, and so is Anne. And with that, let's all roll initiative.
Excellent.
Wonderful.
And I will move you to the map.
Wonderful.
I rolled a 17 plus 3, so I have 20.
Okay. Let me put some people on the board here for you. So let's.
I tried to roll and it didn't roll.
I know. So we have Cordan is here. We have Lorex is there. And we have Anne in the back. And somewhere in the darkness, Here's Mari.
Somewhere out in the darkness.
Here's Mari. All right, so with that, let's give out some turns here. We're going to add these turns in. And I'll roll for Mari as well. Okay, so Mari will be going on a 16. All right, so Mari's rolling a 16. Cordan, what are you on?
11.
Okay. And I got you at an 11. And Lorex has got a mighty 9. And then, Anne, what are you going at?
20.
Ooh.
Right?
Okay.
Rolled well on that one.
Oh, goody.
Uh-oh.
Also on a 20 is me. All right. So, just before, Anne, you're holding your action.
Correct.
Cordan, you're the light show. This swooping out of the fog and the cloud and directly in front of you drops this massive beast. This massive 3-headed beast. The wings come out. The tail comes around. In front of you, you see the head of this giant lion. On the left, you see the head of this dragon. And on the other side, you see the head of this ram. As it comes down, and all three of them are kind of like roaring at you as it lands directly in front of you. Where is your beast?
I summoned it in the air to attack it.
Correct. Okay, so that will go off this turn as well. So let me go grab a token for you real quick. Let me see. I've got animals.
It's like a hawk or something.
There you go. There's that little guy right there. All right. Now let me go get my token. I love it when I describe that something shows up and everyone's eyes get really big. I love that.
It sounds scary.
It does sound
It's
scary.
scary sounding.
Do we get to know the name of said beast?
Oh, I know it.
Okay.
Would I know this creature? Can I roll a...
Yes. Yes. With your 16 nature check, you know that this is what's called a chimera.
Chimera.
This 3-headed beast with the giant wings, the tail, the lion head coming in front, roaring at.
Correct?
Huh?
Tail's poisonous, correct?
Maybe. No, it's not. You, Wes, are thinking of something else. Your character knows his. Yeah.
Okay.
Wes, I think I know what you're thinking of.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it's called.
I think it's called a manticore.
It's a manticore. We are fighting a chimera, something that should absolutely not be here, but inexplicably is. Alright, so he shows up. Everyone holding their action before the start of the turn can go off. So, Anne, you are holding your action. This is not your initiative. This is before. It shows up, triggering your held action. What do you want to do?
I would let the arrow go.
Alright, so let the arrow go. I will give you advantage on the attack since you were steady aiming. Holy, those all the dice come rolling down. So that's a 12.
That's only one roll. Hold on.
Yes. Give me another D20.
I'm engaged with this thing, so she should have advantage, right?
She was already. All right, so we'll go with the 12.
They were both 12.
They were both 12. All right, so you let loose the arrow. So you roll a 6 + 6. The arrow shoots off. It lands. It bounces. You hit the dragon head. The scales of the dragon. The arrow just deflects off to the side of it. And with that, the other triggered action I have is Lorex. You're holding an action as well.
Can I move?
No, you cannot move.
All right, I blast him with an Eldritch Blast.
Okay, all right. So Eldritch. Now here's the thing. Here's the thing. You can take the move as your action that you're holding, but that's the only thing you can do in your held action. If that makes sense.
You know what? I'm gonna do that then. I will use my action to do a movement.
All right, where are you gonna move him to?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
All right, so you're gonna move up to the side of him. All right.
Yeah.
And all right, so with that, I will also go ahead and give an attack to the bird because you had summoned it on its other turn. So the bird was holding its action in a way. I'll allow that. So what do you want your pet to do, your beast?
Well, he does a flyby. That's his ability. So he gets no attacks of opportunity.
Okay.
Against him. He has
Flyby attack.
Strength of 18. That's a beefy bird.
It's a beefy bird.
He also rolls a 12.
12 is no good. He flies by. He buries his talons into the side of this thing. It's thick skin. It is unavailable to hit. All right, with that, we go to the top of the actual first round, and that is where the Chimera will get to go.
Its speed is reduced by 10 as the Spirit of Geldar grabs onto him.
That's right. Your spirit shroud is the poor dead dwarf that died.
Right. He grabs onto the tail.
He grabs onto the eye. So its movement speed is reduced by 10. The first thing it's going to do is it is going to make a bite attack. The lion head is going to reach out and try to bite Cordan. A 10 will not hit.
No.
Hang on.
Are you not rolling in here?
I am.
I don't see it.
I'm sorry. I rolled a 10. It does show up for me. So he rolled a 10 and missed. The goat is going to try to buck you with its horns.
Ram?
Greatest of all time.
Ram, the ram head, yes. It also misses. You're kind of ducking and dodging and using your shield to block the 2 attacks of that. And then finally, the dragon lets loose his fire breath and just looses the fire all over you. And you need to make a dexterity saving throw.
Oh boy.
I gotta see how big this is.
12.
That's gonna be a fail. Let me see how big this is. Okay. Alright, so you are going to take some fire damage.
Probably a lot. I might die.
42 points of fire damage.
I'm at 3.
Okay, so it lets loose this giant flame, 42 points of fire damage as you just basically get pushed off. You're pushed back. Fortunately, your shield took a brunt of it, but you're still just covered in flame. The tree behind you ignites from the breath of the fire itself. And with that, it is Anne's turn.
Vimak has all of our potions.
Oops.
Well, seeing that there's fire, I am going to stay back and we'll probably notch another arrow.
Okay.
Steady aim it. And are the rocks, do I need to be above the rocks? Are they in my way or can I use them as cover?
You can use them as cover.
Perfect. So then I would be going towards, short bow attack.
Okay.
Roll
That's a natural 20.
That's a crit.
All right. So with that, the arrow rolls 5 damage, and it's hang on. I gotta see how the dice rolled here. So you rolled a big old crit. All right. So it's 5 damage from the arrow, but it's 13. It's 25 damage of sneak attack. So it is 30 total damage. 30 total damage. Holy cow.
Love that.
All right. So the arrow flies through the air. You missed the first time. The second time, you go right back for that dragon head. It pierces under the neck of the dragon head. You go right between its scales and it digs all the way in. The arrow is basically lodged into its neck as it's kind of you did this at the same time as the breath goes out. It hits that. He stops the breath. You see the rest of the fire kind of shoot up and illuminate the sky itself. And you see poor Cordan kind of laying back. The tree is on fire itself. So I need to pull something out for that. All right. So 30 points of sneak attack arrow damage for Anne sitting back using the steady aim to do 30 to the Chimera. That is amazing. Lorex, you are up.
I'm gonna take a old swingy swing.
Yes, you are. All right, so you take out your great sword. You are flanking it, so
right.
you will get advantage on your attack as you're kind of hovering above it.
Roll my first one. That is a 25.
25 will hit.
Excellent. It'll be 2d6 plus d8.
Oof. Oof.
Oh, come on.
All right, so you rolled 2d
plus 6.
So you rolled 2d6 and got snake eyes, so that's only 2 points of damage. And then your d8. Now, what's the extra d8 damage for the spirit shroud?
For the spirit shroud, that's 1 cold.
You dealt another 1 point of damage, so we're up to 3.
Right. And then my proficiency, the packed weapon, and my genie's wrath will tack on another
6.
Another 7.
So
another 7.
7. So 10 total damage.
10 total damage on the first hit.
That's
okay.
Goodness.
Oof.
Boo.
Nice
try. That's on the first swing, kind of grazes him, and just out of anger, I'm going to take a -10 on my next attack.
Ooh, he's going for it. He got a natty!
Boom!
He gets a nat 20.
Oh my lord! All right, so you're
to crits.
So you're using your great weapon master,
correct?
And you rolled a 20. So let's see how much damage the Genie Warlock does by flanking the poor Chimera.
Okay, so that'll be 16 plus 7 cold plus 4 for my other bonuses, 27 plus 10 for my great sword of life stealing.
Right, so 37 total damage.
Amazing.
37 damage. So we've now done 77 damage because of Anne and Lorex both crit their attacks.
And I tell you what. Oh, and the extra 10 from the Great Weapon Master.
It's 37 total, right?
Because I took the...
Because you took the negative 10.
Hold on. 16 plus 4, 27, 37, and then plus my Great Sword of Life Stealing tax on another 10. Okay, yeah, so 47 on that second swing.
Wow. All right, so you've done 87 total damage between the two of you. Holy...
And because I crit, I will attack again as a bonus action.
I want to pause that first attack. This is what the crit looks like, okay? So you come down with the sword. You are on the side of the head of the ram. You sever the head of the ram off. Yes. As the head comes down, this blood spurts out as the head of the ram comes down. You pull back, and your dwarven rage, you swing again, because you're not a barbarian, but you can still be mad, and you're going to swing again with your sword.
Correct! I'll take the -5 again.
Okay. And this time you'll miss. Not this time.
And this time I miss.
And this time you roll a 5.
Because you've got blood in your eyes.
There's so much blood from the severed goat head of the Chimera laying on the ground. You're like, ah, and you pull back. All right. With that, it is poor Cordan's turn, who is at a measly 3 hit points after taking 42 fire damage to the face.
Well, the first thing I'm going to do is bonus action 3rd level healing word myself.
Roll your 3d4 for healing. That's pretty good. That's 11 healing.
Yeah, so I'll be at 14.
14. Way better.
So after healing word myself, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look up this thing with singed eyebrows, and I'm going to be extremely mad.
Okay. I have a question. Is your summon beast a concentration spell?
Let's check.
Because you're going to have to make one heck of a concentration save after taking 42 points of damage.
Sure. It's concentration.
All right, roll concentration check.
Makes it.
Yeah, no, It's gone. No, it's gone. All right, so just...
Whatever, I don't care.
Whatever, all right. Okay.
All right, I'm going to woe the Chimera.
That's right. Using your new 6 level ability, you have woe.
And he gets a -6 on saving throw.
He gets a -6 on this saving throw. Okay.
Then I'm going to cast a level 3 erupting earth underneath it.
Ooh. All right. So what's my save?
Your save is Dex 14 -6.
All right. So I'm going to roll that. I rolled a 14, so I rolled an 8.
Okay.
Nice.
Amazing.
All right, so you cast Erupting Earth for 21 points of damage under it. Holy cow. All right, so that means it has taken 109 damage. Right.
Hold my shield up and back away and take a chance at an attack of opportunity because I don't want to be anywhere near the dragon head.
All right, it will take an attack of opportunity. We'll try to. The lion head will snap at you. It rolls a 20 to hit.
God, of course.
No!
And does 11 points of damage to you as you try to get away.
So exactly.
So you're back at 3. Healing word, erupting earth. So the earth abundant is shattering. The thing is, there's pieces of earth like piercing its flesh. It's howling out. Cordan tries to get away. The lion quickly, just instinctively, just snaps out and catches him as he's kind of moving away from him. With that, you hear a growl, this roar coming from the wood as Mari, in bear form, comes charging back and will attack. Okay. Alright, so what's going to happen as Cordan, you jump back, Mari comes back in full bear form. She leaps up. You see this little white teddy bear halfling basically jump up out of lands on the back of this thing, digs both of her claws into the back of the chimera and just bites down and snaps the spine of the chimera as it just takes this moment of this gasp of horror as it roars out and then it just collapses to the ground. So a lot of massive damage.
Kill stealing. That's
basically kill. So Mari gets the kill steal on the chimera as it runs up and just grabs and just like it tears into everybody at the last part of the chimera. So once again, Mari proves and she's just tearing into just blood just going everywhere. This poor chimera. Now here's the thing. In the moment, the tree's on fire. Part of Cordan is still on fire. You're looking about and this thing should not be here. This isn't something you just find in the woods.
I got a legit question. Am I like disfigured?
Well, here's the thing. You would have been burned, but with a healing magic, you would have kind of repaired some of that. We can talk about that, but yeah, you took a lot of flame damage. I mean, your clothes are singed, like your cloak is burned. Your shield is like ashed over from the fire itself. So what with all this, and you're first. What are you doing first?
I would probably be perception checking to check if there's any more damage or any more danger. Sorry, not damage.
All right, so
danger.
you're looking at now. You can see well now because there's just a giant tree on fire. As you're looking about, you still smell that ozone smell. That's kind of permeating around, and you do see in the distance something moving off to your side. There's like this ledge here. You see something kind of scurrying up. You see Boo has returned and is kind of sniffing around and looking. But that's what your first reaction is. You see Boo kind of moving up. What is Lorex doing?
He will tend to make sure Cordan's all right, and then Cordan, are you okay?
Everything hurts.
He looks like Fire Marshal Bill.
Oh no! Let me tell you something. I'll make my way over to Boo then.
Okay, all right.
See if did I hear Minsk? I think just Cordan. Okay, where's Minsk? I heard him.
And you're talking, and Boo like he's making all these noises, but you don't understand what he's saying. You're having
a look at him,
and then there's a moment, Lorex, where you realize that you're talking to a hamster.
I'm talking to a hamster. Talking to a hamster.
Okay. Cordan, what are you doing?
The end of my
I'll say, bring the hamster to me.
As you kind of lean back. So you're just kind of laying on the ground, just singed. You've been mauled by the lion. You're just barely hanging on. Boo comes up and kind of bangs your hand and starts like squeaking.
I'm gonna cast Beast Spawn and touch him.
Okay, so you cast Beast Bond, you touch him, and it's like you touch him, and it's like he's talking. You're catching mid sentence because he's just kind of going really fast, and you just hear him say, "He was here, and now he's gone. He's gone." It's like the door was open and then it was shut.
He must still be in the Shadowfell, and someone opened a veil between the two. Is he still here?
No, it's closed. I looked around, I sniffed. You smell it in the air, but it's gone. It's all gone.
I'm going to reach out and grab Lorex by the arm and say, one of those fairies is here with a knife that can cut between the two. Find it.
You think it's still here or it's on the other side? Okay, I rush off and I'm going to try and track it?
I'm going to be casting heals on myself.
Okay. All right, so you begin to cast heals on yourself. You're kind of mending your wounds. Your horribly burned skin is basically returning to its form as the magical nature of your spells are kind of healing your flesh. But you're still, even with that, you're still hurt. You're still very hurt. You're not gasping for air like you were before. Lorex, you fly about the area. You don't see any tracks of anything else around. Your keen dwarven eyes with your goggles, you don't see anything else was here. Maybe you're not sure if either you're just not seeing it or if it opened from the other side.
I'll come back and relay it to Cordan. I don't see anything. It could have come from the other side.
Well, I'm in no shape to fight. I need to get back.
We should. Yes, let's go back to the inn.
Okay. And with that, this is a great place for us to stop as we pick up next week for episode 13. So thank you all for watching and for following. And until next week, we'll keep rolling with advantage. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Bye, everybody.